Ladies and gentlemen, the times that all right. During the times that I worked for Representative Jack Brandenburg, I had a great honor of standing in and speaking for him when he was recovering from hip surgery. And at this one event, he says, "Ken, I cannot go to Selfridge and greet these incoming veterans who are just coming back after a tour of duty in Iraq and in Afghanistan, so would you go there in my place because we're going to give them a big official welcome." I said, "Well, I'll certainly be glad to do that for you, Jack." And it was a wonderful day. It was in February, and when the hangar doors opened up, we had all these families inside waiting to greet their loved ones. These guys all marched in procession form. They had their families and everybody waiting for them with balloons and waving and with banners. And it was an extremely emotional experience to watch these proud people coming in formation, and they stood at attention during the whole period. Then they got into a parade rest. Then the speakers came forward. And the first thought that came to my mind as I looked at these people was something that I heard once. And I said, what can I say to these people to welcome them home? And I heard this statement. I've never heard it before, but I think it's very poignant. No nation in history has sent so many men and women to the far corners of this earth to fight for the freedom of total and complete strangers. The armed forces of the United States stand as God's answer to mankind's prayer for a better and a safer world. I said, thank you for answering that prayer. And for loved ones who are here today gathered to meet you, understand this. All of us owe you a great gratitude for your time and your patience, because what you did is not just extend freedom to another part of the world that hankers for it, but what you did was save civilization itself from monsters who want to destroy it. Let no one ever say that this country goes out to impose democracy on other people. Ladies and gentlemen, freedom is a hunger that you nourish. It is not a condition you impose. And those beautiful men who were there in that unit, I said, you have nourished freedom. Thank God you did what you did. Thank God for your service. We owe you gratitude that we can never repay. Please remember those brave men and women in your prayers and in your hearts. They've done so much for us. If I was to describe to you what Barack Obama should really be saying to you if he was talking without a script, how he would talk to you without the teleprompter, might go something like this. All right, now look, you folks. I look up a bunch of racist, sexist, homophobic, environmental destroying warmongers, and I'm going to straighten you out. We're going to do the right things by you. Now look, in exchange for straightening you out, what we're going to do is give you what you need. We're going to give you health care. Now, we're going to do a good job at this. We're going to give you what you need, and we'll take as much of your money as we need to take to get this job done. Could it be 50% of your pay, 60% of your pay? It doesn't make any difference. Don't worry about it. Look, I went to Harvard. I know it's good for you. I was on Harvard Review. And I'm the smartest person in the world. Now, Hillary Clinton, she thought she was the smartest person in the world, but boy, I set her straight, didn't I? Well, by the way, speaking of Hillary, Bill Clinton, you owe me. Thanks to me, she's out there traveling all over the world. You can hunt down all the booty you want without any interference from her. Thank you very much. You're welcome, Bill. That's his attitude. That's his true attitude. That's who this man is. Yeah, power to the people. Barack Obama was one of those people. He was part of that group. He was part of the Acorn establishment, this whole network of social action groups that were out there trying to impose their social will on all the rest of us. And right now, we're experiencing this. We're experiencing this right now through the takeover of our national healthcare system. Now, they're pointing out some very beautiful things, lovely arguments that they can use that we all run into, and they're always subjects for arguments, but there's ways that we can diffuse those arguments. There's ways we can deal with this. Healthcare is a right. We're the only industrialized country in the world that doesn't have a national healthcare system. We spend more on healthcare than any other country in the world. We have 47 million people in this country without healthcare. Doctors make too much money. People before profits. We need government option. We need a single-payer health system. Tax the rich to pay for health care for all. Huh. This all sounds pretty cool. Hey, this sounds pretty good. That's why a lot of young people are eating all this stuff up. Let's take a look at these arguments, like one at a time. My favorite is healthcare is a right. Now, there's always this very obvious way that we can go in and handle this in terms of from a constitutional standpoint, and we'll be absolutely right, that there is no constitutional mandate or authority for the government to impose a government-controlled healthcare system on the people in this country. But I prefer this approach I've used on people at some of these tea parties when we have counter demonstrations. I'll say, but Ezekiel Emanuel doesn't agree with you. The national health system of every national health system in the world, including Great Britain, does not agree with you. What they're really saying is, we have the right to determine if you have the right to health care. They're not completing the sentence. They're not completing the sentence. And this will stop them cold. I said, wait a minute, don't you get it? Why do you think there is rationing in Canada, in Great Britain, in Sweden, in every country that has a national healthcare system? The government has to make that decision for you. We spend more on healthcare than any other country in the world. Now, what is obviously missing in this, and something that really teased me off, that the defenders of free markets don't jump on, it just really frosts me. But it's so obvious. Well, here's something I heard recently to reinforce that. He says, oh, we spend more on healthcare? The top 5 research hospitals in the United States of America have produced more medical breakthroughs in the last 50 years than all other industrialized countries in the world combined. Think about that. 5 hospitals in the United States of America. More medical breakthroughs than every other industrialized country in the world combined. Where does all this medical research money, where is it spent? Where is the research happening? It's happening in the United States of America. It's not happening in Sweden. It's not happening in Canada. It's not happening in Great Britain. It's happening in the United States of America. That's why we're spending more money. That's why people here are living longer, despite all those statistics that they're going to throw out about, oh, well, we have the highest income mortality. No, we don't. We have the healthiest society in the world because of our health care, because of the ingenuity, and because of the people. The generous people who work within this system to make this system work. And you can't match it in any other country. When you hear things like 47 million people in this country without health care, it's amazing how many numbers they keep throwing around. I'll never forget during the 1993 debate over health care. Health care czar at that time, he wasn't called a czar, but Ira Magaziner, who worked for the Clinton administration, starts out on the Today Show. We have 27 million people in this country without health care. Later on in the afternoon, listening on the radio, Al Gore in a speech today says we have 37 million people in this country without health care. Whoa, went up 10 million. Later on, Hillary Clinton, we got 47 million people in this country. It went up 10 million from the Today Show to the nightly news. These people were not even on the same page. You just throw around any number and the press is out there reporting this stuff as though it's all factual. We know this. Despite the people who are uninsured, we have people coming in this country from Mexico to get free health care. Now somebody tells me, does that make any sense? How can you tell us that we don't have health care in this country when people will not be turned down in an emergency room anywhere in this country because you cannot turn them down? You have to service those people. Well, then they're going to come up with, well, then the real problem, so they're admitting that there is not a problem with people accessing it. The real problem then is uncompensated care.